Hello, this is Ollie's Movie Madness, and I'm going to be doing a movie review of The Devil All the Time. Came out in 2020, and without further ado, let's start the review. So, the storyline is tremendous because it focuses around this guy named Willard Russell. He is this religious man who is shown to be really strict toward his son Arvin. But before he has a son, he meets this woman named Charlotte who becomes his wife, Charlotte Russell, and the two do have the kid, and they name him Arvin Russell. But Willard finds out that his wife is dying of cancer. He tells his son Arvin to pray to God every day, follow God's orders, and not go down a dark path. But after Willard dies, Arvin does go down that dark path. He starts committing violent acts, which gets Deputy Lee involved, who's trying to catch him. So it's up to Arvin to prevent himself to going down that dark path and follow his father's religious orders. And that's basically what the storyline is for this film. It's pretty disturbing and very interesting at the same time because of the religious messages, which I'll get to later. But let's talk about the performances, which easily the big standout is Bill Skarsgård as Willard Russell. This performance is tremendous because Skarsgård puts 2,005% effort into his performance. He just gives a raw and devilishly captivating performance. And it is one of Bill Skarsgård's darkest performances because of the type of character he is playing. Speaking of that, while the performance is dark, that is nothing compared to the character of Willard Russell. This guy might just be one of the most vile and one of the most disgusting characters you'll ever see in a movie. This guy is an asshole. He abuses the shit out of his son. He raises his voice. He tells his son to pray as hard as he can. And that whole scene where they're at this Christian cross tombstone, and he finds out that his son Willard is not praying, and he slaps him upside the head, saying, "Pray, God damn it." And Skarsgård just pulled off that scary moment tremendously. It's one of Bill Skarsgård's darkest and incredible performances. Tom Holland plays Arvin Russell, and he gives a glorious and incredible and entertaining performance at the character. You know, Arvin Russell, the guy who is trying to stay on his father's religious path, but he slowly goes insane. He starts committing murder. He's killing people. He's going a little crazy. He's questioning if God could really solve his problems. And the scene where he confronts the priest, Prescott, at the church and points a gun at him is really dark and really disturbing. And it's probably one of the most, well, that's not saying much because this whole movie is disturbing, but out of the stuff with Arvin, that is the most disturbing sequence in the entire film. Sebastian Stan plays Deputy Lee, and his performance is magnificent. He does a glorious job of playing this cold-hearted, corrupt cop who just wants to kill Arvin for all the crimes that he's committed. And Sebastian Stan just pulled that off perfectly. You know, you can just tell that Stan is having the time of his life playing this character. And the scene where he points his gun at Arvin saying, "Come out with your hands up, there won't be any problems," is really dark and really disturbing. It's one of the best moments of the film. Now, while I said Sebastian Stan is disturbing in this movie, that's nothing compared to Robert Pattinson as Prescott, who is the main antagonist of this movie. Batman himself played the villain in this movie, and his performance is disturbing as hell. It is disturbing and really creepy. But he just does a tremendous job with this performance. And Prescott as a character is, they say this guy is crazy is an understatement. This guy believed that God will solve everyone's problems in this town. He raises his voice. He tried to push Arvin to become a killer. And that really gross, disgusting sequence of Prescott pouring bugs on his mouth and they're crawling inside of him is so fucking disgusting. But it just shows how crazy he is. And that scene in the church, it's the same scene that I just mentioned with Arvin. That whole scene where he says, you don't get to, God can't solve your problems, you bat the child. Because he's saying that Arvin is a bastard, he's born out of wedlock because he can't follow God's orders to save his life. And it's one of the most memorable sequences of the entire film. It's really dark and really terrific. The directing by Antonio Campos. He does a glorious job directing this film. His message in this film, it is messed up, but it works because this movie tried to say that God can solve all your problems. And that's exactly what Willard Russell, Bill Skarsgård's character, believes in this movie. He believes that God will cure his wife's cancer. Spoiler alert, it does not. She dies. And he just does such a glorious job explaining that religion can corrupt you. You can turn religion, you can turn God's words backwards and just make it all disturbing and messed up. And you just have to be careful of what you believe in. And I think he did a glorious job directing this film. The tone is consistent. Apparently this movie is based off of a book of the same name. I never read the book, but I do know that it is the same plot as this. So Antonio did a terrific job following the book the best he can. I do think No Country for Old Men adapts its book better than this one, but his directing is tremendous. So, in conclusion, I really love this film. The storyline's epic. The performances are all great. You have a big ensemble. Tom Holland, Sebastian Stan, Bill Skarsgård is easily my favorite performance in this film. Everyone is just having a lot of fun playing these characters. Sandy and Arvin's relationship is terrific and really emotional and really heavy. Fun fact, while Bill Skarsgård gave a good performance in this, sadly he would eventually play the worst MCU villain a year later in 2021's Eternals, where he voiced Koro. But it's not his fault, it was the script that they gave him. But that's an interesting bit of trivia. But again, the performances are great. The dialogue is epic. The confrontations between all the characters is amazing. The stuff with Sandy is awesome. Jason Clarke's character, who I forgot to mention, I didn't mention at all, but he is really fun in this movie. Jason Clarke gives really awesome performances. I highly recommend you watch this film, especially if you enjoy First Reformed, which is another religious film with Ethan Hawke. Then I'm sure you're going to like this film as well. This is one of my favorite Netflix original films of 2020. It's easily in my top 2 favorite films of 2020 of all time. So I give this movie a 10 out of 10. So that is going to be my movie review of The Devil All the Time. Hope you guys enjoyed.